I had 3 stitches in my abdomen when my parents told me to take the bus. Not a ride. Not, are you okay? Just, we're at the mall getting things for your sister's birthday. You'll manage, right? I was standing outside the hospital, discharge papers still in my hand, the bandage tight enough to remind me every time I breathed. Take a bus, my mother repeated, like it was nothing, like I was nothing. I didn't argue. I didn't remind them I had just come out of surgery. I just said, okay. Then I hung up. For a second I stood there, watching people walk past me, families, couples, someone laughing too loudly, and realized something simple. They hadn't changed. I just finally saw it clearly. I called a taxi instead. The driver glanced at me in the mirror when I got in. Hospital? He asked. Yeah. You shouldn't be alone after that. I almost smiled, but I didn't answer, because that wasn't the part that stayed with me. What stayed was the sound of my mother's voice choosing balloons over me. By the time I got home, the house was empty. Of course it was. I sat down carefully, one hand pressed against my side, letting the silence settle in. Then I reached for my phone, not to call them, not to complain, to call the bank. Hi, I said calmly when the line connected. I need to update my life insurance beneficiaries. A pause. Of course. Who would you like to remove? I didn't hesitate. My sister. Because for the first time, I wasn't going to wait until something happened to matter. The change took less than 10 minutes. That was the part that surprised me. Years of being the responsible one, the backup plan, the person everyone assumed would always be there. Gone. With a single update. Your sister has been removed as a beneficiary, the agent confirmed. Would you like to add someone else? I thought about it, then shook my head, even though she couldn't see me. No, leave it as is. Because this wasn't about replacing her, it was about removing the assumption that she had any right to me. I ended the call and leaned back slowly, careful of the stitches. The house was still quiet, too quiet. By evening, they came back. Laughter first, then footsteps. The door opened, and my sister walked in carrying shopping bags like she was returning from a celebration. Hey, she said casually. You made it back? I looked at her. Yes. That's good, she replied, already moving past me. Mom said, you were being dramatic. Dramatic. 3 stitches, hospital discharge, taxi ride alone, reduced to a word. My parents followed in after her. My mother barely glanced at me. Did you eat? She asked, already heading toward the kitchen. I'm fine, I said. My father nodded once. Good. That was it. No questions, no concern, acknowledgement. I sat there, watching them move around the house like nothing had happened. Like I hadn't just come back from surgery. Like I didn't matter. And for the first time, I didn't feel hurt. I felt clear, because something had already shifted. They just didn't know it yet. The next morning, my sister complained about a headache. Not unusual. She had one almost every week. Probably stress, she said, sitting at the table, scrolling through her phone. I didn't sleep well. My mother immediately went into action. Did you drink enough water? Maybe it's your blood pressure. You should see a doctor just in case. Just in case. I stood in the doorway, one hand resting lightly against my side. No one asked how I was healing. No one checked my stitches. No one even remembered. I'll book you an appointment, my mother added quickly. I can drive her, my father said. Of course he could. I watched them move around her like she was fragile, like she mattered, like she needed protection. And I understood something then. It had never been about need. It had always been about preference. I turned away and went back to my room, closed the door, sat down slowly, and for a moment, I just breathed. Not from pain, from clarity. An hour later, they left for the clinic. I could hear my mother reminding her to bring her ID, my father telling her not to worry. The door closed. Silence again. I picked up my phone, not to call them, not to check on her, because for the first time, I didn't feel responsible. Not for her, not for them. Whatever happened next was no longer connected to me, and somewhere, deep down, that mattered more than anything else. They came back quieter than they left. That was the first sign. No laughter, no casual conversation, no background noise filling the house. Just silence. I was in the living room when the door opened. My sister walked in first. Slowly. No phone in her hand this time, no energy in her voice. My mother followed, eyes fixed on the floor. My father came in last, closing the door a little too carefully. Something was wrong. Not small wrong. Real wrong. What did the doctor say? I asked. My sister didn't answer. She just sat down, staring straight ahead. My mother stepped forward instead. They want to run more tests, she said quickly. It's probably nothing, just routine. Routine. But her voice didn't match the word. My father didn't say anything. That was the second sign, because he always had something to say. Tests for what? I asked. A pause. Then my sister spoke. Blood work. Scans. Things like that. Vague. Too vague. I nodded slowly. Okay. And I left it there, because I could see it clearly now. They were worried, not pretending, not managing, actually worried, and for the first time in a long time, it had nothing to do with me. I went back to my room, sat on the edge of the bed, and let the quiet settle in again. My phone was still on the table, the call from yesterday still in my history. Life insurance, beneficiary removed, clean, final. Outside my door, I could hear my mother's voice. Lower now, controlled, trying to keep things together, trying to fix something she couldn't control. And I realized this was the first time their world didn't revolve around me being the solution. The diagnosis came 2 days later. They didn't tell me right away. I heard it through the walls, late at night, low voices, words that weren't meant for me. Autoimmune, complications, long-term treatment. Then, we need to think about coverage. Coverage. That word pulled everything into focus. The next morning, my mother knocked on my door. Soft, careful, different. Sarah, can we talk? I opened it. She stepped inside like she wasn't sure she was allowed to. She's going to need treatment, she said, voice tight. It's not simple. The doctor said it could take time. A lot of time. I waited, because I knew what was coming. She doesn't have enough insurance, my mother added. And the costs. There it was. Not fear. Calculation. My father appeared behind her. We'll figure it out as a family, he said. Family. Again. My sister stood in the hallway, quieter than I had ever seen her. Not demanding, not dismissive, just waiting. For me. For my answer. I leaned against the doorframe, one hand resting lightly over the bandage on my side. 3 stitches. Still healing. Still mine. You already have coverage, I said calmly. My mother frowned. What do you mean? I held her gaze. You just don't have access to it anymore. Silence. Confusion first. Then something sharper. What are you talking about? My father asked. I didn't raise my voice, didn't explain everything. I just said the one thing that mattered. I removed her. And for the first time, they realized something had changed. For a second, no one reacted, like the words didn't land properly. Then my mother stepped forward. Removed? From what? I didn't move. My life insurance. That was enough. My father's expression hardened instantly. You what? I updated the beneficiary, I said calmly. Yesterday. You had no right to do that, he snapped. I almost smiled. No right? The same people who told me to take a bus after surgery were talking about rights. My mother's voice cut in, softer now. Sarah, this isn't the time for decisions like that. Your sister needs support. She has you, I replied. That's not the same, she said quickly. This is about security, about her future. Her future. I let that sit for a moment, then answered. So, was mine. Silence. Heavy. Because now we were finally talking about the same thing. My sister stepped forward slowly. I didn't know, she said, quieter than before. About the insurance. I didn't ask for anything. I looked at her. For the first time, she sounded real. Not entitled. Not dismissive. Just uncertain. I know, I said. And that was true. She never asked. She never had to. It was always just assumed. My father shook his head. This is see. After everything we've done for you. I stopped him. What exactly have you done? The room went still because that question didn't have an easy answer, and for the first time, they didn't have one ready. No one answered, not my father, not my mother, not even my sister. Because there wasn't an answer that didn't expose something. My father looked away first. That was new. My mother tried to recover. This isn't about the past, she said quickly. This is about what's happening now. Exactly. That's why I made the change now, I replied. Her voice tightened. You're punishing her. I'm correcting something, I said. My sister flinched slightly, not from anger, from realization, because for the first time, she understood she had been part of something, not just the center of it. My father stepped forward again, trying to take control. Fix it, he said. Call the bank. Put her back. Like it was simple. Like I was still that version of myself. I shook my head. No. One word. Clean. Final. My mother's expression shifted again, this time not soft, not controlled, desperate. She needs this, she said. I looked at her. She needed you to care about me yesterday. That ended it, completely. No argument, no comeback, just silence, because we all knew. That moment had already passed. My sister sat down slowly, hands in her lap, staring at the floor. Not demanding, not expecting, just quiet. And for the first time in this house, no one was looking at me like I owed them something. Because they finally understood. I didn't. They didn't ask again after that. Not that day, not the next. The house changed quietly. No more raised voices, no more casual demands, no more assumptions, just distance. My sister started handling her appointments herself. My father stopped trying to fix things with short commands. And my mother, she stopped pretending everything was normal. A week later, I had my stitches removed. No one came with me. I didn't ask them to. I sat in the same clinic chair, the doctor working carefully, and for the first time since all of this started, I didn't feel alone. I felt independent. On the way home, my phone buzzed. My sister. I stared at the screen for a moment before answering. Hey, she said. Voice quieter than I remembered. I just wanted to say something. I waited. I didn't realize, she continued. Not about the insurance, about everything. A pause. I'm not asking you to change it back, she added quickly. I just get it now. I didn't respond right away, because for once, she wasn't asking for something. She was understanding something. That's enough, I said finally. And it was. When I got home, the house was quiet again. But it felt different now, not because they changed, because I did. I walked to my room, set my keys down, and closed the door behind me. No noise, no pressure, no expectations. Because sometimes, the most important thing you remove from your life isn't a person. It's the access they had to you.